Alright folks, welcome to Beast Feast. This is John Garland. I gotta warn you, I'm about to step on a soapbox. Part of, and this is not the soapbox yet, part of the passion that I have in my life is that after I discovered or sought out what God's design for me was, I took a look at the things that really bring me alive and then figure out what activities how to kind of involve other people. So, I've got my design, my desires, and ministry that comes right out of that stuff. That's just my way to serve God's kids, so to speak. Part of that has to do with manhood initiation, boyhood to manhood transition, that sort of thing. I don't know if you'd call it genuine masculinity or something like that. But I guess as I consider, working this out in my own life and being more involved in actively seeking out opportunities to help with manhood initiations and things like that, boyhood to manhood transitions. I'm hypersensitive to the blurring of the lines between genders. So I'm messing around on the internet. I'm trying to compile a little bit of information to make this video, and I come across different things that are really surprising. I did a quick search on masculinity in Europe, or what's it like to be a man in Europe, and I find that there's and has been a very concerted effort to subvert hegemonic masculinity. And hegemony, by its definition, cannot be feminine. It has to be masculine, and it has to do with the social ascendancy of men in all the social forces that impact everybody else. But women cannot be guilty, if you will, of hegemony. Anyways, so I found that there's some authors that put out the thing that if there wasn't any outworkings of masculinity in our society, there would be no war. There would be no violence. That women they're not that way. They're just not. And I see, again, like I'm referring back to the blurring of the lines between gender, between the sexes. So that's I just did a search on that, and I came up with a news article that somebody really trumpeting what Target has done, and Target's a quite progressive company. Target's had a recent decision to eliminate gender separation of toys, and the writer of this article says, "We are thankfully finally entering into an age where we want our kids to be who they are and not give in to the old societal binary norms that dictate what it means to be feminine and masculine." And what all that means and what it harkens to is that gender is a social construct. You're a boy in your mind, you're a boy in your body, and you're a boy in your actions and what you present to society, because you have been told that you're a boy, and you've been dressed as a boy, and you've been given boy toys, so you know that you're a boy. And then we have this term binary. I know what they mean, but you have boys and you have binary humans, and if you're a binary human, then you're somehow transcendent to a boy or to a girl. And then we have the clothing that separates us into genders. I've got some Irish heritage, and I want to have a kilt, but a kilt is not a feminine article to me. I don't have a kilt. I've never worn a kilt, and I don't know if I actually could because I don't want to feel silly, you know. And anyways, that's another deal entirely. But we have people that want to dress up boys in really colorful clothing and really, you know, sparkly and with kittens on the cover, you know, as pastels and flowers and stuff like that, instead of, you know, camo and leather and Carhartt pants and you know, all this is, if it's put on, as in it's a facade or it's a part of an identity that's not cohesive with who you are, it's all bunk. And it really irritates me to no end to see society attacking men and saying things like, well, if you weren't masculine, then we wouldn't have war. If you weren't so aggressive, we wouldn't have violence. What we need to do is teach, and you know, the guys that are doing these articles, these really, the smarter ones, I think, or maybe the more honest ones, are actually putting forth the more clear picture, the more total picture that, you know, being masculine is not bad. We have to teach our young men what's proper and what's right. I was in my 40s and I was still trying to learn that aggressive behavior towards my wife or towards my children, it's bad. It's negative. It doesn't work, especially if I'm using it to manipulate or get what I want, or stop behavior that I don't like, which is a way of getting what I want, right? What I need to be, and what I've had to figure out, is how to be assertive without being passive, without being aggressive, without resorting to violence. And I had to get honest with myself, and it's tough. Again, with these researchers that are being honest, they actually give a more than just a passing nod at the fact that we need to teach the boys what is true masculinity. You know, we were made in the image of God, male and female. He created us. This doesn't have to do with the sin that comes out of where we cast our eyes and what gender we desire. It's not about that. It's about being a strong, assertive man that knows his God-given purpose. And that, my friends, is what it's about.